Hi, thanks for joining me. This is Angie at Chicken Scratch. This is the project we're making today. This is my annual calendar that's available over on my website, 2018. Okay, so the supplies are 2 4-inch coasters. You can get those on Amazon. 2 pieces of designer series paper that measure 4 inches, 2 pieces of garden green, and then cherry cobbler that measures 3.5 by 3. I want to make sure that's right. It is. Okay, this is the calendar. I'm going to show you how to cut this after we decorate the coasters. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is take my liquid glue and I'm going to decorate or cover the coaster. Do one at a time. I want to make sure that it's completely covering the coaster before I press on it. You might want to cut your paper just a smidge larger than 4 inches so that it's not so difficult to line up. Okay, I'm going to set that aside, and now we're going to do this one. And the reason we're doing 2 is we're decorating the front and the back. You don't have to if you don't want to, but I think it sets on the desk a whole lot better. Okay, same thing. In fact, if you look on my sample, I believe my designer series paper was just shy of 4 inches, but I'm going to have 2 samples now, so it'll be fine. Now I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to trim off that extra. So if you do cut it larger than 4 inches, just trim it off. And then next I'm going to take a sanding block. Well, you know what? Yeah, let's go ahead and do this. And then we want to add the garden green paper. And the sanding block, this is just like one of those nail buffer thingies. You can get them at any of your beauty supply stores. Or I'm sure Amazon sells them too. They're not very expensive. Okay, now let's attach the garden green. And this step you can skip if you want. I just like that it's not, you know, all plain. If you had to make a whole bunch of them, this would be the step to skip. Except if you're standing in it, it's really not, because you can see the back side of the coaster. So same thing. I will probably fast forward this so that we can speed up this video, okay? Okay, so I paused the camera so that I could clean all that dust off of here from sanding these down. So now what we want to do is punch the holes for our ribbon. And what I've done is I've taken a piece of paper that measures 4 by 4, same size as the coaster. I fold it in half, fold it in half, fold it in half, and then I opened it up and then folded it in half, and then half, and then half again, so that I got this center point right there. And then I took my Crop-A-Dile, you can also get that on Amazon, and I cut a circle, or punched a hole, I should say. So all I'm going to do now is take my pencil and trace this on the back side, and do that on both of them. And if you get confused on the template of punching your holes, just let me know. I'll do a video on it. Okay, so I'm just lining that up. I always have trouble getting the those little pieces out. Now let's take this one. I don't need to take that out now. Okay, so I thought I punched that one upside down. We would have upside down trees. So now we're ready for the garden green ribbon. And that's how I chose the paper for my coaster calendar this year, is I just looked at our paper and looked at our ribbon and said, okay, I like this one. The holiday catalog has a really pretty pack of paper as well that I might make another one. Of course, right this minute I can't remember the name of the paper, and I've completely messed up my bow, but oh well. Where's my scissors? I have to remember to stop talking when I'm tying the bow. And you don't have to tie it this way. You can, I've seen people knot it in the back and then make it like a wall hanger. I can't talk today. I have like a gazillion thoughts running through my head. Okay. Not the best job of ribbon I've done, but it'll be fine. Now we're ready to cut our calendar, because what we'll do is we'll cut it, we'll attach it to this, and then we'll attach it to the front side here. So I'm going to get my paper trimmer and the template, or the calendar, and we'll start cutting. Okay, so when you get the calendar, you're going to also get the instructions to cut it. So what you want to do, this is January through June. You're going to turn it over here, and I want to make sure that you can see this. So I'm going to zoom the camera out. Okay, January's at the top. We're going to cut this at 10 inches. Then we're going to make sure January's at the top, and we're going to cut this at 4 1/4. Now we're going to turn January upside down, and we're going to cut this at 3 3/8. Turn it around so that January's at the top and cut at 3 1/4. Then place January to your left and cut it at 2 3/4. And there is your first month. You're going to make sure March is on the right. You're going to line this up with 7 1/8 trim. Then turn it so that March is on your left and cut it at 2 3/4. Take May, put it to the right, line it up at the 4 1/4, and then turn it around at the 2 3/4. And there's your May. Now we're going to take February through June. We're going to cut it at 3 3/8. And then turn it and cut it at 3 1/4. You're going to place February on your left and cut at 2 3/4. You're going to take April, turn it to your right, place it at the 7 1/8 trim, turn it to the left, and cut it 2 3/4. Take June on the right, line it up at the 4 1/4, turn it on its left side, cut it 2 3/4. So here is all of those. Now we'll do the next sheet. Okay, same thing. July and August are at the top. Cut it at 10 inches. You're going to do it just like that first page. So we're going to cut it 4 1/4. Turn July upside down and cut it at 3 3/8. And then 3 1/4. July on your left, cut at 2 3/4. There's July. Put September on your right, place it at 7 1/8, then turn it on the left and cut it 2 3/4. November to your right, cut at 4 1/4, turn it to the left, and cut at 2 3/4. Now we've got August through December. We're going to cut this at 3 3/8, and then 3 1/4, and then cut this at 2 3/4. We're going to place October on the right, cut at 7 1/8, and then at 2 3/4. December on the right, cut at 4 1/4, turn it, cut 2 3/4, and there we have our calendar months. Let me clean this up and I'll be back to show you how to assemble. Okay, so I have all my calendar months here. This is going to be the hardest part of making this project, and it is lining these things up to then attach to this piece of cardstock. It's not hard, it's just they kind of want to slide and move around, so that is why we are using a stapler. And not the Stampin' Up! Retired stapler, but just a regular old staple. Now, I will tell you that the first time I went to make this project, my stapler was out of staples, and then I had like multiple holes up here. So I'm going to say a little prayer that nothing happens here. Yes, it was perfect. And it's centered. But even if it's not, whoever you're giving it to is going to love it just fine. This is just a regular old stapler, nothing fancy. Okay, so now how to attach it on here. Use whatever adhesive that you want. I think last year I said use dimensional, so that way dimensionals don't usually rip your project when you take them off. But I decided I'm just going to use glue dots because they're quick and easy, and I don't plan on taking this project apart and adding a different calendar next year. One more glue dot. Slide this under. This tutorial, or not tutorial, but the calendar file is available under my online classes. So when you pay, you will access your file on the online classes. Now the final step is I'm going to add a row of rhinestones just to cover up the staple. You don't have to. It looks cute no matter what. You could use colored staples if you have any. I know some places carry those. And I don't know about you, but these rhinestones that are in a row, I never really use them very much on my projects. And now that they're retired, of course I have a gazillion of them left over. So I'm using retired product, but we still have rhinestones, so you're welcome to use however many of those you want. I'm going to add 5. Just because I did 4 one time and it didn't look right. So either do 3 or 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me set it down. Even when they're in a row, they still might position a little bit crooked on your project. So before you press down, looks pretty good. Okay, so there they both are. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks a lot. Bye.